February 27th, 2024. A fintech company in Stockholm publishes a press release. Their new AI assistant has been live for 1 month. In that 1 month, it handled 2.3 million conversations, 2/3 of every support chat. The company did the math. That is the work of 700 people. The press release was proud. The numbers were real. But here is the detail almost everyone missed. That day, at that company, nobody was fired. No layoff, no announcement. Remember that sentence. It is the key to everything. No security walked anyone out. No boxes were packed. The support floor looked exactly the way it had in January. Hold on to that. It is the most important fact in this video, because the scale of what is coming has already been measured. And the people who measured it were not fringe voices. They were economists at the most famous bank on earth. Their number is the reason you clicked on this video. In March 2023, Goldman Sachs published an estimate. Generative AI could expose the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs. And yet, unemployment sits near record lows. So economists keep asking, where are the layoffs?
Exposed is a careful word. It does not mean 300 million firings. It means the daily tasks of those jobs can now be written into software, which is its own kind of unsettling. Somewhere, your task list already fits an automation plan. In January 2024, the International Monetary Fund put borders on the map. Almost 40% of all jobs on Earth are exposed to AI. And in advanced economies, the United States, Europe, that number rises to 60%. The IMF split those jobs down the middle. For half of them, AI helps, output rises, and so can your pay. For the other half, AI takes over the core tasks, lower wages, less hiring, and in the extreme case, no job at all. The IMF's own managing director compared what is coming to a tsunami. So run the test on yourself, right now. Name the 5 things you did at work yesterday. If they happened on a screen, in words, numbers, or tickets, then you are standing inside the 60%. But numbers do not empty chairs. So to see how this actually happens, watch One Desk. What follows is a reconstruction. Rachel is a composite of documented cases. Everything that happens to her happened to a real worker, somewhere between 2023 and 2026. Rachel Moreno, 34, a copywriter at a mid-sized software company. 9 people on her team. Steady work, a job she is quietly proud of. In the spring of 2023, a colleague quits. The replacement is approved, then quietly paused. Nobody explains why. That summer, a drafting tool arrives. Management calls it help with volume, and Rachel is good with it. Honestly, better than most. Her output doubles by autumn. In 2024, a second seat empties. Parental leave, then a resignation. The posting for that job never goes up. No meeting announces anything. No memo uses the word restructuring. The team of 9 is now a team of 7, then 6. The work still ships. The clients still pay. The floor is just quieter. Nothing dramatic happened. And that absence of drama is the story. Rachel still has her job. Keep that in mind. It is not the mercy it sounds like. Because what happened at Rachel's company has receipts. Across the real economy. May 2023. IBM's chief executive pauses hiring for back-office roles. He tells Bloomberg he can easily see 30% of them replaced by AI in 5 years. That is roughly 7,800 jobs, fading one resignation at a time. Through 2024, Klarna shrinks from about 5,000 people toward 3.5. No mass layoff, a hiring freeze, and what companies call natural attrition. April 2025. Shopify's CEO sends a memo. Before any team asks for headcount, it must prove that AI cannot do the work. That same month, Duolingo tells staff it is going AI first. June 2025. Amazon's CEO writes that AI agents will reduce the corporate workforce. That October, Amazon cuts 14,000 corporate roles, its largest ever. And 2 days later, on the earnings call, he calls it a culture decision. Salesforce says the quiet part louder. Its support team fell from 9,000 to 5. The CEO's words on the record: "I need less heads." Notice the shape of every single story. No massacre, a freeze, a pause, a job that never opens. Economists have a name for this: displacement by attrition, the quiet version. So ask the other question about your own team. The last time someone left, was the seat refilled? Now, to be fair, the case for calm is strong, and serious people make it. Automation panic has been wrong for 200 years straight. When ATMs arrived, bank tellers were supposed to vanish. Instead, branches got cheaper, banks opened more of them, and teller jobs grew for decades. An MIT economist estimates only about 5% of tasks can be profitably automated this decade, and most of today's jobs did not even exist in 1940. New technology created new work every single time. And then there is the number that seems to end the argument: unemployment. Through all of this, near historic lows. Let that evidence breathe. It is real. It is measured carefully. Then notice what every one of those measurements is actually counting: firings, claims, people pushed out of jobs they already had. Attrition is invisible to all of them. A job that is never posted is never counted as lost. The unemployment rate cannot see a hiring freeze. But there is one place the invisible thing becomes visible: the very first job. Stanford economists studied the payroll records of millions of workers in 2025. Employment for 22 to 25-year-olds in the most AI-exposed jobs fell 13% since late 2022. Older workers in the same jobs held steady. That exact pattern means one thing: stop hiring at the bottom. Which brings us back to the sentence you were asked to remember. The day one AI absorbed the work of 700 people, nobody was fired. Now you know why nobody had to be. By 2026, Rachel's team of 9 is 4. She spends her days running the very system that produces the old team's volume. The junior role she started in 11 years ago, it no longer exists at her company. Her younger brother just graduated in computer science, the SAFE degree. He sent out 200 applications into the worst new graduate market in years. New graduates now face higher unemployment than the workforce around them, a first in the modern data. For decades, we were promised the machines would take the dangerous and dirty jobs first: the warehouses, the mines, the trucks. Then the exposure tables came out, and they read like a university brochure. Paralegals, junior analysts, copywriters, support agents, junior developers. The plumber and the electrician, they sit near the bottom of every list. Researchers call it Moravec's paradox. The reasoning we spent years in school for is cheap for machines. The hands we never think about, almost impossibly expensive. Every year of education moved you up the exposure list, and nobody designed it that way. The career ladder is losing its bottom rungs. Companies are deleting the exact jobs where juniors used to become seniors, which raises the question nobody in those boardrooms answers. If no one is ever hired at the bottom, where do the seniors of 2036 come from? Run that pipeline forward, and the answer is uncomfortable. Judgment is built in the boring years: first drafts, small clients, supervised mistakes. Delete those years, and a decade out, experience becomes the scarcest thing in the market. The seniors of 2036 are being unhired right now, one frozen role at a time. From here, honest forecasters sketch two futures. In the first, the optimists are right, as they have been before. AI creates whole categories of work nobody can name yet, the way 1940 could never have imagined an app designer. Work migrates, wages eventually rise. In the second future, the transition itself is the disaster. Economic historians measured the first industrial revolution's fine print. Roughly 50 years passed before the gains reached ordinary workers' wages. They call it Engel's pause, a working lifetime spent inside the gap. And Anthropic's own chief executive told Axios what his product could do. Half of entry-level white-collar jobs gone within 1 to 5 years. His words about his own invention. Maybe he is wrong. Builders overestimate their machines all the time. But even the optimistic future contains a brutal in-between. And the in-between is where your career happens to live. So look at the people who are already getting through, because they share a pattern. First, they sit on the operator side of the line. The displacement line runs between people whose output competes with the model and people who direct it. Rachel kept her seat because she became the one running the stack. Second, they move toward work where a human must be accountable. Sign-offs, liability, trust, physical presence. The categories every exposure table says resist the longest. Third, they watch the one metric this video just taught you, your own company's job postings page. When the backfills stop in your function, that silence is a 12-month warning. Act while you are still employed, because your options collapse the day you are not. And for the people just starting out, the honest advice is sideways. Proof of work beats credentials now. Smaller firms cannot afford seniors, so they train. As for Rachel, she is safe this year, and on the first of every month, she opens her company's careers page, and she counts. Rachel kept her job. What she lost was the version of her career where she never had to check. 300 million jobs will not end with an announcement. They will end the way Rachel's team did. A chair empties, and no one ever sits in it again. There is no siren coming, no headline that says, "Today is the day." The only warning you will ever get is a job listing that never appears. So watch for it. The one thing this future cannot do is hide from someone who knows what the silence means.